This man bought all of Dave Mustaine's guitars.
It was me. I'm the culprit.
Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. Yes, apparently it's true. One guy bought all of Dave Mustaine's guitars that were for sale on Reverb.com. Just in case you missed it, last week Reverb announced that Dave Mustaine was going to be selling a large collection of approximately 150 items in an official Dave Mustaine Reverb shop. And for anyone confused, Dave Mustaine is the frontman of Megadeth, and he's got quite the following. The items offered for sale consisted of quite a few different things. There were guitars, there were basses, apparently there was a banjo. There were just things that Dave was no longer using, so he wanted to offer them up to the public. And these listings went live on Monday, November 4th, 2019. Little did Reverb know that all of the guitars were going to sell within the first 5 minutes. And it was because of this guy right here. His name is Keith, and he's part of Essex Recording Studio. When speculation was sweeping the internet of how all these guitars sold so fast, he ended up posting a video explaining what he had done. His message is about 14.5 minutes long, but here's the parts you want to know. Essex Recording Studio is right outside of London. It's a budget-friendly recording studio. He basically funds his whole studio by buying and selling instruments. But as a self-proclaimed Megadeth fan, he bought these guitars so he could document them on his YouTube channel. But most importantly, he's going to open up his recording studio to visitors to play and record with Dave's old guitars. But his ultimate end goal is to sell all these guitars once again for a higher price. So Keith is kind of seeing this as more of an investment. When Mustaine sold all of his Jackson guitars in the early 2000s, Keith didn't quite have the money to buy one of those guitars, so that kind of inspired him to do this, especially when he saw such crazy asking prices of guitars that sold then. So I think this is kind of a ballsy move on his part to then come forth as the buyer and everything. I just think it's kind of funny. He had the money to do it, so why not? A lot of people are hating on the guy since they missed out on some of these guitars, but look at this terrible like to dislike ratio on his video. Which I don't really feel the hate is deserved, because he's at least gonna share the guitars with everyone, allow other people to record with it. I think this was basically just a big whole ploy to kind of help promote his YouTube channel. He does have quite a few guitar related videos on his channel already, and despite the effort that he's been putting into the videos, they really don't have that many views. Just as a fun fact, I actually found his channel about a year ago when I was looking for a video of a Roswell Rhodes, back when I was making this video. But let's go ahead and take a look at the guitars that he bought. There were officially 141 listings within this shop, and there's only 15 of them remaining. It's just a bunch of parts that probably nobody really wants. But if we take a look at the sold ones here, and narrow it down to the electric guitars, you can see there were 21 of them. So it's not as crazy as you might think. This guy didn't buy 150 guitars. When I got around to looking at these listings and their sold prices, I was shocked at just how cheap some of these guitars were, considering who owned them. Dave Mustaine has a big fan base, and the fact that he's recently been battling cancer made me think that prices would be a lot higher. Maybe it's just because I don't know the market values of Deans. Maybe these are 2 to 3 times more expensive than they would normally be. So just for fun, let's go ahead and look up a couple of these. The first one, the 6-string backwoods banjo. If I was around for this sale, I probably would have bought that because it sold for $485 and a brand new one's only $450. So that would have been a fun video. Dave Mustaine's banjo guitar. The bass did see a premium, however, it's very similar to what a new one would cost. And looking at the acoustic, it looks like it sold for a little bit more than a new one, so that tells me that these probably were priced doubly. It's just Dean guitars aren't all that expensive to begin with. And on top of that, a lot of these just seemed like freebie guitars that he was given that didn't necessarily have any significance to him. So how much did Keith spend this day? I've only got the electrics on the page right now, and he said he missed about 2 of them, but picked up a few of the basses and the other acoustics. So let's calculate this out, approximately. Roughly $42,000. Is that a lot of money? Not really, because if he would have tried doing this with the Green Day official Reverb shop, he only would have been able to buy 3 vintage juniors and a signature junior before he would have ran out of money. So if there was ever an artist sale to do this on, this was definitely the one. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the more cool ones. There was quite a number of double neck Vs in this collection. And when I think double neck guitar, I always think like $4,000 plus. So when these things were showing up around $2,000, I thought that was relatively inexpensive, all things considered. This Carina Explorer pointy guitar is kind of cool too. That was one of the more expensive ones at $4,250. This is probably the one Keith is most excited to get, I would guess. It was the most expensive thing in the shop at $6,500. The Dave Mustaine Signature Holy Grail. I'm not really into these pointy metal guitars, so it doesn't do much for me, but more power to these guys. But how did he buy them all so fast? Many people were questioning that, but he answered it in his video. He says he just essentially clicked on all of them that he saw, then went to the checkout page and just did that for all of them. So it only took him a couple minutes to get through all that. Because once you have your payment information saved within Reverb, it really does only take about 20 seconds to check out a guitar. If I were doing it, I probably would have done something similar to this, where I just open a bunch of tabs, and then as the tabs are loading here, you can go to each of them, and then with a few clicks of a button, you've purchased 20-some guitars. It really wouldn't have been that hard to do. No bots were used. I saw in the comments section of his video that he was saying that this was the first one that he was made aware of where Reverb was doing a garage sale of an artist. So who knows, maybe he'll do this again. But if I was him, I would live stream the event. I've often thought about buying one of these artist guitars, just for the novelty of the review and demo. But to be honest, Reverb really hasn't featured an artist that I idolize. I wouldn't mind a James Hetfield guitar, that'd be kind of cool. But now the big question, why did Dave sell all this stuff off? Like we were talking earlier, with him battling cancer, this really scared some people. Like he was just cleaning out shop because he didn't want to have his estate and family liquidate all of this stuff. But remember, we were also saying when he switched from being a Jackson guitarist to a Dean guitarist, he also sold off all of his guitars. And there's been rumors that Gibson has picked up Dave. And with Gibson recently being under new management, I could see it happening. This is reportedly a leaked prototype of one of his new Flying Vs that Gibson is making him. That'll be interesting to see the Gibson branding on that. What's next? Is Gibson gonna win Metallica back? I would love so much to see an official Gibson Iron Cross. But anyways, that's the story of how Keith bought nearly every single Dave Mustaine guitar that was offered for sale by Reverb.com. He's going to document them on his channel, he's going to have people play and record with them, and then he's eventually going to sell them. Thank you, Troglodytes, for tuning in today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow on the next one. Take care.